The room is silent. My phone is vibrating in my hand and I already know what it's going to say before I answer it. I don't want to pick up. Not because I'm busy, not because I don't care, but because the moment I answer, something will change, and I'm terrified of what that change might be. Have you ever been there? That moment when your heart starts racing, your mind floods with what-ifs, and suddenly your body feels heavier than it should? You're not being attacked, no one is shouting at you, nothing dramatic is happening on the outside, but inside, everything has stopped. That's where I was. On the other end of the line was an opportunity I had been praying for, the kind of opportunity people say they want, the kind you tell yourself you'd grab instantly if it ever came. But when it actually arrived, my first instinct wasn't excitement, it was fear. Fear of failing, fear of being exposed, fear of making the wrong decision, fear of stepping into something I couldn't control. So I stood there frozen, not knowing that in that silence, fear was already winning. And if I'm honest, that moment didn't make me unique, it made me human. Because every single person, no matter your age, your background, your successes, or your struggles, has had a moment like that. A moment when fear didn't scream at you, it whispered. A moment when fear didn't push you down, it quietly convinced you not to move at all. We like to imagine fear as something dramatic, danger, threats, emergencies. But the most dangerous fear isn't loud. It doesn't chase you, it doesn't attack you, it paralyzes you. It shows up as indecision, as procrastination, as "I'll do it later," as "I'm not ready yet," as "let me think about it a bit more." And here's the painful truth. Fear doesn't need to destroy your life outright. It only needs to keep you standing still long enough for life to pass you by. If you're young, fear might be telling you you're not good enough yet. If you're older, fear might be telling you it's too late. If you're successful, fear whispers that you could lose it all. If you're struggling, fear says, "Why try? You'll just fail again." Different ages, different circumstances, same enemy. And today, I'm not here as someone who has figured it all out. I'm here as someone who has wrestled with fear, lost to it at times, learned from it, and discovered something life-changing on the other side. By the end of this, I want you to understand one big idea. Fear only has power when it stops you from acting, and the moment you learn how to act despite fear, your life begins to change. This is not a talk about eliminating fear, it's about outgrowing it. And before we're done, I'm going to ask you to take one small, clear step, something practical, doable, and real, so that ultimately, fear exits and you regain your control. But first, we need to understand what fear really is and why it's been quietly shaping so many of our lives.
Fear is one of the most misunderstood forces in our lives. Most enemies announce themselves. You see them coming. You know when to fight. You know when to defend yourself. But fear doesn't operate that way. Fear doesn't charge at you. It doesn't kick down the door. Fear slips in quietly and rearranges your life from the inside. It convinces you that you're being logical, that you're being careful, that you're just waiting for the right time. And that's what makes it so dangerous, because fear doesn't tell you don't do this. It tells you not yet. Think about how many decisions in your life have been delayed, avoided, or quietly abandoned, not because you didn't care, but because fear blurred the line between caution and paralysis. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of looking foolish, fear of the unknown, fear of the known because last time it hurt. And here's the question we almost never ask ourselves. How many of my choices are actually mine, and how many are fears? Fear shapes careers by keeping people in jobs they hate. Fear shapes relationships by keeping people emotionally guarded. Fear shapes dreams by convincing people they're unrealistic. Fear shapes daily life by shrinking our sense of what's possible. And the cruel irony? Fear feels safest when we do nothing. But in life, doing nothing is often the biggest risk of all, especially when it comes to emotional decisions, commitment, vulnerability, stepping forward instead of staying on the fence. Fear rarely shows up saying, "I'm scared." It shows up saying, "I'm not sure." And "I'm not sure" can become a prison if we're not careful. Now, add the world we live in, a world of constant news alerts, a world of conflict, instability, polarization, and uncertainty, a world where social media magnifies fear, outrage, and comparison. We are surrounded by reasons not to move. And yet, something inside you knows deeply that you were not meant to live a life dictated by fear. You were meant to contribute, to speak, to build, to love, to try. But fear traps your voice. Fear traps your potential. Fear traps your future. So the real question becomes, where does this fear come from? Because once we understand its roots, we can begin to loosen its grip.
Fear doesn't usually begin in adulthood. It's learned. Many of our deepest fears trace back to moments we barely remember. Childhood experiences where risk felt unsafe, where mistakes were punished, where imagination was slowly replaced with caution. Some of us grew up in environments where encouragement was rare, where criticism was constant, where failure wasn't treated as part of learning but as proof of inadequacy. And slowly, subtly, we learned a lesson that still echoes today. Don't try too hard. Don't stand out. Don't risk being wrong. Don't risk being laughed at. Children are born with courage. They fall, they get up, they fall again. They don't call themselves failures until someone teaches them to. And when fear is reinforced early enough, it embeds itself deep inside. It becomes automatic, invisible, familiar. That's why fear is so convincing. It feels like you. But here's the liberating truth. Just because fear feels familiar doesn't mean it's natural. Fear is often something that happened to you, not something that defines you. And awareness matters. The moment you begin to notice patterns, repeated hesitation, chronic indecision, constant self-doubt, you're already reclaiming power. Because fear hates being exposed. It survives by disguising itself as reason. So the next time you face a meaningful decision about work, relationships, purpose, pause and ask yourself, have I done the research? Have I thought it through? Or am I stuck because fear doesn't want me to move? This isn't about recklessness, it's about honesty. And honesty is the beginning of freedom. Fear's greatest weapon is paralysis. So its greatest enemy is action. Not perfect action, not fearless action, just action. Sometimes we wait to feel ready. We wait for confidence. We wait for motivation. But confidence doesn't precede action. It follows it. There are moments in life when you don't need clarity, you need movement. Volunteer even if you're not sure. Speak even if your voice shakes. Try even if someone else might do it better. Action interrupts fear's narrative, because when you act, even imperfectly, you gather evidence that you are capable, growing, learning. And here's something powerful. Action doesn't need to be in the area where fear feels strongest. If one door feels impossible, move another door. Momentum matters. Small wins rebuild trust in yourself, and once you start moving, fear loses its hold. Fear is deeply connected to insecurity, and many of us try to fix insecurity with things that cannot hold it: money, titles, achievements, approval. But nothing temporary can give permanent security. True security comes from being anchored to something unwavering: values, purpose, meaning. When life shakes, and it will, what you're tied to determines whether you fall. And this isn't theoretical. I once met someone who lost almost everything: health, comfort, certainty, and yet found a strength deeper than fear itself.
She said something I will never forget. You don't know how strong faith and trust are until you're left with nothing but them. That kind of grounding doesn't eliminate fear, it outgrows it.
Fear thrives in emptiness. Confidence grows in consistency. You build an arsenal by living aligned with your values, daily, repeatedly, intentionally. Kindness, gratitude, generosity, integrity. These aren't soft ideas, they are sources of strength. Every time you act in alignment, you reinforce your foundation. And over time, fear no longer defines your choices.
Fear makes us reactive. Leadership, in life, not just titles, is proactive. Leaders don't wait for fear to disappear. They move with it present. They build a base. They return to their values. They act anyway. And slowly, fear loses its authority.
Let me take you back to that phone call. I stood there for a long moment, and then, not because I felt brave, but because I refused to stay frozen, I answered. Was it scary? Yes. Was it uncertain? Absolutely. But it moved my life forward. And now, here's your next step. Simple, clear, actionable. Within the next 24 hours, write down one decision you've been avoiding out of fear. Then take one small action toward it. Not tomorrow, not someday, today. That's it. Because fear loses power the moment you move. And when you act, you remember who you are. You are not your fear. You are not your hesitation. You are not your past. You are capable. You are needed. And your life is waiting on the other side of action.